Remember this. They were fighting. They were trying to liberate. They were trying to fight an enemy. The Ottomans, in the hundreds of years that Ottoman ruled, they had never been at rest. They were fighting in the north, and and they were also fighting in the west, and they were trying to keep. So a fighting structure. What happened is that the whole of the Muslim Ummah, they became servants to this government. They became suppliers to the army. They're the supplier line. When you go now to places like Topkapi and the Harim, by Harim, I'll come to this in a minute. And you look at the statistics and the books. You find some books. They tell you so many eggs in a farm in the extreme west of Morocco. Can you imagine? They know how many eggs in there because of the supply lines. See, so the government, right, and everybody, the industry and the agriculture was all geared as a supply line to this jihad movement to liberate. And this started from the anti-Hulaka time. When the Ottomans collapsed, and of course when you are in an army situation and the whole structure becomes centralized. The previous one was decentralized. It was organic. Now we have everything is hooked to the Sultan. Right? Everybody became an employee of the government, effectively. And when the Ottomans have disappeared, Muslims became like headless chicken. They don't know what to do. The British came and they ruled the whole of India. Just a few people around. They don't know what to do because they were used for hundreds of years of the centralized structure. This new structure is not, until now, we are suffering. The Muslims are still, they don't know how to sort it out. You get some army officer, he comes in and take over, he provides that authority central, and the society becomes central. Many places in the Muslim world, many people, their aim in life is to become employed by the government. That's because of that spirit. It's still there. So I think the decadence came, it was the fracture from the Mongol, right, which has destroyed this fabric. The infrastructure is different. When you look at the Ottoman, they have not made use of the philosophy, of the sciences, and so on in the past. You get strange why, because they were busy doing it. I think their priorities were different. Okay? So that was, I think, is another dimension of, it's not a question of just al-Ghazali and so on. I think it's unfair to accuse al-Ghazali. I mean, it's not right. But we come to this business of harem. When people talk about harem, they think it's all about women who give pleasure to the Sultan. Now, I investigated this. I'm writing a book about women of science in Muslim heritage. This is, because we've discovered some fantastic women in the past that people don't know about. It really is just mind-boggling, their contribution. So, this harem business, apparently, it's an administrative department that runs the accounts, runs the management system of the whole Ottoman Empire. It runs by ladies. And you go there and you find this place is made out of marble, shining marble everywhere. So when you find out why, you find that in the front they used to have the shoes. You have to swap shoes. Men wear wooden top cap, wooden clogs. You know why? So that they can make noise, and women, because they are all, without hijab, and they're all having freedom, because they're all women, so that they gives them, and they said there is a man coming in the house. There's a man coming because they have the clogs. These women, they were actually the central, administrative structure. Not women being cherry-picked by a sultan so you can go and sleep with them. This is attitude of distorted, people in the West who have this attitude. It's not right. Okay, so, I think that it is not fair to put the blame on al-Ghazali. Islam and its Muslim civilization, in terms of its creativity and innovation, has been shown by Professor George Salim, Columbia University. He has shown that 200 to 300 years after, they continued in their inventions and in their innovation. innovation and science. So it's not right to say it's been stockpiled at the time of Al-Hassani.
Yes, modern science has, I mean, okay, it's now seen, I mean, for past few decades, has been seen to be overly exploitative and hence destructive of both nature and culture. Although modern Western science is the youngest science compared to Egyptian and this Islamic science and Chinese science. So what can we learn from the history of non-Western science, Islam and China? What can we learn to redirect science today that put people into that put people rather than power and profits in the center, that put back people and nature and culture into the center. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, there was an interesting this is an interesting aspect actually. There's when Europe took off, you know, in terms of the Renaissance, science has taken a diversion, and science and technology and later industry was actually deflected from its original historical path, not only through the Islamic, all previous civilizations. There was always a moral and spiritual dimension of knowledge and science. But when it was transferred into Europe, the influence of the families like the Medici families and others, they were famous financial groups, it actually took off into a marketing dimension. And we are suffering since from that diversion. Because it really, the market economy and economics and finance and so on, just taken over. Right? Purpose of science, purpose of knowledge and so on. You're only as good as you are good in what economic society. So this is, what happened is that then the concept of society and concept of citizenship has become very important. And citizenship has been linked intimately with the economy of the system, right? And the man as a center, right, has also emerged. That a man become, you know, when you say ecosystem, it's eco around the man. Man has become almost like a god. Everything else around in this planet should be serving man. But that is very dangerous. Actually, when you come to think about it, the human being is one of millions of other species. You know? And yet this creature has caused so much devastation. You know? There's somebody, I don't know who was it said, a very famous saying. He says that if you take man away, Earth will continue, and yet if you take insects away, they will die, right? So that's sort of so what happened is that the concept of the planet and Earth and environment, and that man is part of it, has disappeared. There's a master there who has given himself the freedom of utilizing this planet in the way he likes. And that, I think, has created enormous imbalance in science and research, nuclear weapons, its carbon, you know, the problem of global warming, energy, misuse of consumption. It's all because of this. I think Islam has something to offer here. Because Islam puts man as a creature in its right place, in this universe, in the cosmos. That is something that I think your center could offer in terms of studies, right? Because there is a difference, you know, the basis, the thesis of Western capitalism, which has influenced science, which has influenced universities now, it's influenced the economic system. This attitude is not working. And they themselves are now, there's a lot of people are now emerging who are saying it's not working, right? They are searching for new university systems. There's a group that we are involved in called Horizon 3 University. It's the future of university. How a university should be. You have an objective for university, but how do you get there? Is the present system of universities, is it working? And is this what we want, or is there something else? So things are happening in the world, and I think it'd be excellent if one can do research to come up with something unique. Sometimes it is not necessary to say Islam, Islam, Islam. You don't have to bring in this Islam thing into it, because it's natural. I mean, Islam is actually about being peace. You submit to the Creator, and you're at peace, and you're talking about such issues. Because there is a misconception about, and there is bad perception about Islam and Muslims, many of the good things that you can actually give to the world will be blocked. Yeah? Well, this is why we say that we really need to be very careful about our attitude of what we call plurality or pluralism, yeah? Inclusivity and diversity and so on. This is something that is now emerging, and actually we have a number of people who are interested. We have a new series to give in the sessions in the Royal Society. Every 3 months we have a quarterly meeting with the Royal Society, and we discuss these issues. The new series of topics, I can't show them to you now, but they are mostly about that. People are now, for instance, in terms of management systems, you've got Professor, his first name is Krugman, from Cambridge. He's a Nobel laureate. He was talking about, the demise of big corporates, and he's predicting that Microsoft has already started declining, and he thinks that it's going to happen to Apple as well. And he brings in the concept of tribalism within, and he praises the ideas and the theories propounded by Ibn Khaldun in his Muqaddimah. Right? So Ibn Khaldun now comes up, and he's coming up, and he's got, in the past, deciding what the future is going to be. This is fascinating. We're inviting him to give a lecture on this subject. Yeah. I think some of these young people. Yes.
We are banking on the assets for the future.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Professor Hassani, first let me welcome you, and I think that it has been profound lecture that you have delivered today. Let me just introduce myself. I am Husni Muhammad Amin. I am a master's student at CASIS. My supervisor is Professor Zaini, and my background is mechanical engineering. So I've been working on my master's thesis. Is that very related with today's topic, is the inquiry into the philosophy of technology during the medieval period of Islam, and I focus mainly on Banu Musa, and I think that book it's what sparked it in the first place. It was interesting that you mentioned why the West is studying Islam is because they are on a going down, on a trajectory of going down, and that the question that we should really ask is that how did we went up? And what I noticed is that in the West there have been philosophers of technology who are also historians. They have studied history of themselves, of the West and Islam, by which they want to derive philosophy of technology. I think people like Jacques Ellul, Louis Mumford, who wrote Techniques and Civilization, and the Techniques and Power, and also recently Neil Postman. I think they are warning their society not to fall into what Louis Mumford called as the mega machine. Don't fall into it, because it will spell the demise of the Western civilization. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything from the Muslim world. We are not up to the challenge. We don't even try to dig up what made us go up there. So, what do you think, Professor? Is this an area that we should look into, that we should produce philosophers of technology, Muslim philosophers of technology, and then maybe you can highlight some of the technological imprints left by Muslims whose significance are still present in modern technology, that without which this technology cannot be manifested today. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. It's nice to know you're a mechanical engineer. I'm not being biased. But I give you my heart-to-heart feeling. I'm really very disappointed when you look at the quality of work in the Muslim world, in this area. It's, you look at history and, I thought I'm going to find some great people. Even the way they referee the work, the quality is not there. I don't know what happened to the Muslim world. Before, when they used to have developed the science of hadith and so on, so thorough, so high quality, making sure that, these moderns nowadays, it's just not really so shallow. And that is hurting. When you look at some of the colleagues that we are dealing with, in fact, some of the hostile people who are fighting us now, because they realize that we're causing a big problem, they say, you are changing history, by bringing this up. You're causing a problem. Somebody says you have passed the red line. Hey, is there a red line there? We didn't know there is a red line. And we're being attacked to say, you're bringing these things from the past, so they are not correct, and there were this and this influence from the Greeks have done this. Anyway, there's a big debate about that. But actually, we try to look at people from the Muslim world so that they can come to the rescue, so they can actually defend. Give me some authority in the history of medicine. Really authority that is recognized, published in peer-reviewed journals. You tell me, please, history of engineering. Give me any historian of science and engineering or medicine from the Muslim world who really is of substance, who have been recognized by the rest of the world. It's not there. That is killing, actually. It's really terrible. We're all busy pontificating here and there and so on. You go there and try to, you dig deep. You become the master of that subject. Young people like you can eat the whole world. Honestly, what is this? When I did my PhD, we were a group of people. We wanted to make sure that, if we want to give a good impression about Islam, we must be the first. And I must say that, every one of us, this group, got first-class honors. Right? Got to do that. It doesn't take much. It takes an intention. And it takes perseverance and do it. When you go into a subject, you study it, you find out everything about it. I'm glad you mentioned the names of these scholars on your subject. That's very good. So you're aware of what others are talking about. You can understand what they're saying. You can debate what they're talking about. And so we need quality of some people. We have a huge number of people. The quality is missing. I'm not trying to degrade. I think potentially, you have enormous potential for quality. But it needs to have this methodology. It also needs to be driven by inspiration. If your aim is to get your master, and you get your PhD, so they call you doctor, and then you can go and get employed in the university, so that's all fine, but that's not going to make you a great scholar. What's going to make you a great scholar is something outside that. You pursue your curiosity for knowledge. And in fact, even more important is that you do it for the sake of something of higher purpose. For Muslims, do it for the sake of Allah. Right? So I think that my hope is that young people like you should be inspired to go and do something of substance, of quality. Right? And you persist in doing that. Right? Not so that you can get an ego. No, you do it really for the sake of it. Allah will open many things for you. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about ego. Put them all aside. They will all come. They will beg you. There will be a time when you refuse money. Your time will be refused. You don't have your name mentioned. That's the quality that is going to make a difference in the world. So without putting that aside, the thing that you have mentioned triggered something else. The things that we've been talking about, this history of science and so on, some of the information that I've got, this comes from manuscripts, right? Now we have made the statistics to find out how many manuscripts there are, Arabic manuscripts there are in the world, what remains after Hulaco and after the burning of millions in Cordoba and others and so on. What we have is around a minimum of 5 million manuscripts around the world. They can be up to 8 million because some of them are repeated. There are a number of interesting things about that. Only 50,000 of them have been edited. This whole Muslim Ummah, with all the wealth that you have, with all these brains, right? Only 50,000 have been edited. This is just unbelievable. Right? And you know what? You take this 50,000, try to classify them. The largest number in this is about dynasties, about killing each other, and about fighting. And then the next highest number is about religious differences, debates of this Imam, that Imam, and so on. Everybody's follower, they give money because editing is money. Editing a manuscript costs money, right? So you get these, followers of the Hanafi school. They give money to these people. They go there and make tahqiq of the, they edit these manuscripts so that they know what this great Imam has said. It's all fine, right? I'm not opposing that. That's good. And then the next highest in number is about poetry. Right? Language and poetry and enjoying what remains. And then is what we have been able to find out, a bit of science, a bit of technology. And we also found bits about women. Actually, this is interesting. Al-Biruni once, in one of his books, he said, I am grateful to Allah and to Rayhana, right, that I have been able to do this. Oh, so there is a Rayhana there. You smell this rih, you go and find out, there's a lot of women like Rayhana around. They were lurking in the Muslim civilization, but they have not been appreciated and they have not come out. In fact, out of those 50,000 manuscripts, some of them, they have no authors. Or some of them have authors that have been scratched and been taken away. I have become a believer that these were women. It's what happened when the Muslims declined, the status of women declined. Early status of women was just unbelievably equal. It was the role of women. We don't want to start another lecture about women. But I tell you, you start from the topmost position of health and safety executive. The first position of health and safety executive in the world. Right? It was done by the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar radiallahu anhu is appointed a minister, effectively, directly reporting to him, to occupy this position of health and safety on the capital, which is Al-Medina, by a woman. Her name was Al-Shifa. A lady who has been, such a powerful position to go and make sure that the weights and measures are correct, that the food is also correct, the safety of building is so correct. Yeah, this is just a modern concept of health and safety. Anyway, that's just beside the point. So though we find that this 5 million manuscripts that are sitting there, right? Some of them are eaten by moth, and some luckily are now being digitized. And then, and we're talking about knowledge, and we're talking about Muslim society, and we're talking about find out of that. It takes a lot of effort to pick up, So your center could prioritize. I don't say just go and pick up any of these manuscripts. Cherry pick them so that they can serve the purpose of, for instance, I think it's a priority to find out about women. They're all over there. Because women in Europe and in modern society, they have to fight their way to extract space in the society from men. So there is a hostility. The feminist movement, the suffragette movement is anti-men because it comes up from negative. The women in Europe were thought of as like animals. They were without spirit. Until now they're struggling to get a priest to get recognized by the priesthood in the church. So they struggled from negative all the way, and they are still fighting to find a space for recognition. Muslim women should do that. All the Muslim women need to do is to go and say, I want my right, which is gone. Muslim women, they shook hands directly with the Prophet to give him bayat. Right? Muslim women, like Al-Shifa, she was a minister, government, authoritative, office. You find Muslim women engineers, you find Muslim women mathematicians. What come to my mind was a Muslim woman called Sutaita al-Baghdadi. She was an expert witness in the court of Baghdad about 1,000 years ago, using mathematical and algebraic equations to solve problems of inheritance and solving dissolution of companies and so on. When you got a building which is half built or something like that, how do you divorce? She used mathematics, and the court will invite her as an expert witness. That is on top of the fact that she was a family woman, on top of the fact that she was a faqihah. She was actually a knowledge, she knows the Quran by heart, she used to know the hadith and so on. All of that, and she becomes a mathematician as well at the same time. Such kind of women in society. When the Western people, when they look at our women and find they are solo, they think that everything, therefore, because it evolves to the better, the way they did, because they came from bad, from worse to bad to better to another position. They think their graph is going that way. So they think that if Muslim women are now like this, they must have been terrible before. Actually, it's the other way around. The graph of evolution of women in the West is exactly the opposite mirror image of the Muslim evolution of Muslim state of Islam. So they need to know about that. Muslim women need to know about that. And men actually need to know about that. How are you going to get this done? You've got 5 million manuscripts sitting there waiting. Right? It's okay, fine, we can pontificate about al-Ghazali and others, but let's find out about other people as well. You may find some other great scholars who have written fantastic work, which is still unknown. It is sitting there in the archives. So we have a big mission in CASIS. Hello? You're right, yes, thank you.
We are, I think, running out of time, unless, of course, you want to have more questions. Can I raise a question? Because it's what I find Dr. Adi Satya at work. I actually read your articles without you knowing it. He's been working on the so-called gift economy, for example. I want to raise the issue here. It's not just inventing through science and technology. An economic system is also needs reinvention. So the gift economy that you're speaking about, the reinvention of money, because you mentioned Neil Ferguson, more famous book by him is actually The Ascent of Money. You should read that book because it tells about the Medicis and so on, how money came to be as it is today. And of course, as you well know, money is actually fiat money. It's not based on any, let's call it, banking. So fiat money is all invention of the West. And the Federal Reserve and so on, they are the ones that are managing this entire system. So we have experts in Malaysia who can talk about this subject. But it's not just to describe what is, it is to invent what will be. So I think it's very important to think about that. Why don't we have a quick discussion on this before we end? Would you like to comment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, the gift economy is something that myself and a network of friends have been working on since for the past 6 years or so, and we have done courses and workshops in New Zealand, Singapore, Indonesia, and so on, and UK. In fact, last year I was invited to the LSE in London to talk about gift economy, and the first sentence that I mentioned was that modern economics is a science of the impossible. It is an impossible science because of the way it's defined. It's defined as scarce resources chasing after unlimited ones. So you have scarcity on the one hand, chasing after something that is unlimited, and that causes a lot of tension and crisis and bubbles and so. And alhamdulillah, we have also been in dialogue with the Christians and the Buddhists and many other faith communities, and even just like decent people and there are many counter-economics movement in East and West. So I think, and in this area, I think the history of Islamic economics have a lot to offer in terms of concepts and structures and how we can go about creating institution to operationalize those concepts. And to make my talk, I want to cut short my. In fact, when it comes to the money, we have done pilot projects in which we actually create. We have a small markets in which we invited traders to come and we use the dinar and the dirham as means of exchange. Now the thing about the dinar and the dirham, it's not about the gold or silver per se. It's about honesty and transparency and mutual exchange. So it's about that. So alhamdulillah, like in Malaysia, a few professors are working on that in different aspects of the problem we are network. And at CASIS, we've been conducting graduate programs, and now we are having a 7 weeks long course, community education course on the gift economy. So yes, I think because at the end of the day, in fact, I close with saying there's a saying of the Salaf, and it goes like this: al-ghina min al-afiyah, meaning wealth is part of health, and in Arabic, one of the meaning of al-ghina is independence. So wealth it's just the money or the property per se. Is about independence. I mean, there's no way that we can fund our cultural revival if we go on begging from the World Bank, begging from US for aid. We need to be able to create our own money. We need to be able to recreate our own autonomous economy based on our own ethical principles, but in a manner that can closely engage with the modern economic systems, so that they can look at us and find a way out of their own problems. So I think I stop there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd like if you can correspond with me. There's some information. It's not the time here, but there is some package of information which would be useful for you that is not in the public domain. So you will not have come across it. But we have that which will help you. It's about the concept of indexation and the fiscal system and the Islamic system and how. And there was a very famous lord who was the head of our university. He has brought this attention to the House of Lords. So it's a nice story to tell, to plug into you.
And in the UK, there's movement, I think you know about it, the positive money movement, and I think a lot of what they're doing is, I think we should learn. I mean, our Ministry of Finance should learn a bit.
It's happening. It's happening. So by partnering and linking with other organizations around the world, things can actually happen. There's a good potential for it. It's not all doom. Be optimistic, right? And we don't give up on Allah's mercy. Yeah, there are some people, they think that's it, it's finished now, we're going to have to destroy this world.
All right, I think we have really extended beyond our anticipated endpoint. Thank you again to Professor Wamamno and CASIS for hosting the event. I'm not sure whether you want to continue with the private discussion after this, but I'll leave it to you. But as far as this seminar is concerned, thank you very much for your attendance and your participation. And from the faces, I normally can gauge the interest is very, very high. So inshallah, the interest, the passion will translate into real action. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, but just for 1 more minute, we have to do our normal Malaysian courtesy. I would like to call upon Professor Wan, the founder of CASIS, to give a little token of appreciation to Dr. Salim and also Dr. Tuku Azman.
Disappointed with a very good book from the world.
Yeah.
we've heard a lot, Dr. Salim mentioned about Al-Biruni. So it is a work translated from the Kanun al-Mas'udi by one Malaysian lady, lecturer at UIA. It's a treatise on hikams. So thank you very much. We shall now adjourn. Thank you, Jazakumullah khairan, and we'll see you again perhaps in our next CASIS Scholarly Dialogue, which is scheduled on the 31st. And you'll catch our announcement on Facebook or any of the social media blogs that you find. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.